Namaste, a warm welcome to Parent Station. I, Anshita Kothari, Admin, Parent Station Rajkot chapter, welcome you to this wonderful Friday. Friday is a day where we invite experts from different fields to share their views with us. As the topic for today says, School Chale Hum, Back to School, a day which is looked forward to all the school and college going kids to restart their routine after almost a 2 year break. It comes with its share of skepticals, differences, questions in their minds, and a lot of issues which need to be addressed from the student's point of view. And what better person to invite this than Dr. Charmy Bhatt? Dr. Charmy Bhatt is an MBBS, a DCH, a diploma in clinical psychology, and is pursuing her child psychology. Charmy ma'am, a warm welcome to Parent Station.
Thank you. Thank you.
Charmy ma'am, besides these academic qualifications, you are a continuous learner and, in your words, are willing to explore new dimensions and are into observing people and their behavior and trying to understand their perspective of different things. Besides, ma'am has an extremely fond love for children and she firmly believes there is so much to learn from the kids. Ma'am, this sentence itself speaks so much about you, and I am looking forward to sharing different views about yours with our audience. Once
Thank you.
again, a welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much for inviting me on this platform. And hats off to all the parents, to all the kids who have made it through this pandemic and are here today. It has been testing times for all. No one has been spared. And hats off and a big pat on your back to all of you.
Yes, definitely, ma'am. That includes us teachers, you
Every
from the field of medicine, the professionals, and of course, our parents. Ma'am, let us talk about the pre corona times, the times when we were not aware of a thing called pandemic or staying at home or lockdown. What was the scenario? What was the situation then, ma'am?
okay, see, today, when we think of those times, we have really started appreciating bigger things in life, smaller things in life. At that time, stress. Let's take kids. What was the stress? Waking up early in the school, and not liking the food mama is giving for lunch. Then coming and doing homework, preparing for your exams. Those were our stress. Initiators.
Ma'am,
There was nothing
one more
like
stress initiator for the kids.
yeah,
Waking up early in the morning.
yes, waking up early in the morning too. And it was not a matter of life and death. But this
Exactly.
pandemic has changed the perspective, even in the minds of a very young kid, even a child, even a preschooler. So a total change in the mindset has been created because of this pandemic. So uh, unfortunately, we people have very short-term memory. That's our drawback that we have short-term memory. So, but now, no. Um, Post pandemic people are really कि zindagi जी लो, we will live our life to the fullest. And I don't think people are now wasting so much time on bothering about little things. I mean, that used to be a priority before the pandemic, and I think the priorities have changed a lot.
So maybe if we look at it, this pandemic did give a positive result. It changed our
Yes,
mindset. It changed the way we thought about things or laid importance on certain things which were actually not needed.
But as I said, we have a short-term memory, so let's see how much positive effect.
Exactly. Exactly. But maybe we really hope that this lasts long and then people are more careful about it.
Yes.
Ma'am, what was the scenario as a doctor during the corona times? I will talk about especially from the children point of view. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Please continue.
yes, ma'am. The reason is it's always thought of कि ये तो छोटे बच्चे हैं, ये क्या समझेंगे? उनका छोड़ो, बुजुर्गों का देखो, हस्बैंड का देखो, think about the business, think about the job. बच्चे का तो क्या है, घर पे रहे, स्कूल नहीं गए, टीवी देखा, एंजॉय किया. But those little kids, they could not express themselves. But a lot was going on in their minds, ma'am.
Yes. See, the effect of pandemic on kids. It major, mainly the factors would be what was the developmental stage. That is the age of the child. What was the financial status of the family? What was the educational status of the family? Whether the child was of a special need or with any previous mental or physical condition. Okay, and whether there were any other conflicts prior to the pandemic. And I would the effect of pandemic I would like to divide in certain categories, like the younger kids who were till the age of 6 years, how it affected them. Then 7 to 12 years kids, that is also a different age. The adolescents, the special needs ones, and the privileged underprivileged ones. So
Right,
the
ma'am.
factors which I told, the developmental age, financial status, educational status of the family, and the special needs.
Right,
So
ma'am.
kids below 6 years, see, the cognitive status of the child during up to the adolescent, it is in a rising graph. So
Right, ma'am.
it's developing. They are not mature enough. And after the adolescence, means after the 20s, after 20 years of age, it's plateau or going downward.
Right,
So
ma'am.
what happens that in this age, the children do not have that vocabulary to express their feelings. They are feeling a lot of things, but they don't have that emotional vocabulary. They don't know fear, they don't know upset, they don't know grumpy, they don't know love. They can't distinguish between all those things, vocabulary. So how they would expression will be through behavior. As we
Right.
said, you see a newborn child, infant cannot speak. So
Right.
if it is hungry, it will cry. It has soiled the clothes, it will cry. It has some physical pain, it will cry. So that crying is an expression. So for
Right.
kids, when they are not able to express verbally, it's the behavior that we have to observe. So in younger kids, it was more of anxiety, which resulted in a lot of clinginess, insecurity, crying spells, nightmares, loss of appetite, not taking an interest in all the routine activities they used to do, whether it was within the home also. So
Right.
these were the main issues, because so during this pandemic, I think each and every family has had a very close call with the virus. Either
Right, ma'am.
someone has been seriously ill, either some loved one has lost his life, or because of this, the protocols of being, isolation. The parent and child may have been isolated, which may have again led to separation anxiety. So, a very insecure feeling of, losing a parent, the primary caregiver, or, uh, being very seriously ill or being separated from the parent, that has been a major emotional and psychological effect on the younger ones. So these children, even in the 7 to 12 years of age, these children are also, still in a developmental age. They may be a little bit grown than the 6-year-olds, but still emotionally they are evolving. They don't have still that vocabulary, and they even go through this phase. Like anxiety has been, and the thing is, there was a feeling of helplessness at all levels. Even
Exactly.
you and me felt helpless. And
Yes,
whatever
ma'am.
we adults feel, no, it transfers to the kids. The kids can sense them, even if we are not speaking. That atmosphere, that the way
Heaviness.
we
That
talk, the way
heaviness is there.
yeah, that heaviness is there. They interpret that something is wrong. Even an
Right.
infant interpret that something is wrong.
Right, ma'am.
So how we handle the situation would have impacted uh, greatly on our kids, because we
Right,
were the
ma'am.
only environment. The parents and the family was the only environment the child was exposed to.
Right, ma'am.
Now, in adolescence, I think, except for those who were appearing for their board exams, I mean, that was a very, very critical time for them. Especially
Right,
though
ma'am.
11th, 12th boards, 10th was still okay. We have 2 years to go, and the issue will get solved. The pandemic will dissolve. For those kids, the academic and emotional problems were more, because see, when you are studying online, the attention span is not that much. There are a lot
Right,
of
ma'am.
distractions. Okay. And also, they don't have a fixed schedule. You are eating anytime, you are waking up anytime, you are bathing anytime, so you don't have a fixed schedule. So when there are career forming years and you don't have a schedule, your timetable gets disrupted, it will be affecting your academics. So
Definitely.
for them, this was the main issue. Otherwise, what I saw, the adolescents were having a gala time during the online classes. I mean, they had exposure to all social media and internet, and they had from their school groups, and they were learning and interacting more. In fact, I mean, there were group studies they were doing online. They were solving their problems. They did not need even the teacher sometimes. So
Yes.
adolescent kids were having a gala time. That's what I observed. It may have been a different situation elsewhere, where it is regarding the underprivileged students, where they
Right.
could not have that internet access, where they did not
Yes.
have those teachers access, where finance was a major problem. There were no wages or poor wages, which led to a lot of school dropouts also.
Right, ma'am.
That
Right, ma'am.
led to child labor also, more exploitation of the children, and more a rise in child abuse and violence.
Crimes.
So yes, there had been a rise by almost 50% during the pandemic. The child helpline had an increase in number by 50% for
Okay.
domestic violence. See,
Mhm.
I'll tell you the psychology. See, there is no wage, no or poor wages. So the basic requirements, food, water, a safe environment to live, that was not there. On top of it, the fear of being infected by coronavirus. And if we are getting infected, where will we go? That affects the adults. That tension, that frustration, it gradually builds up. When it is repeated frustration, it will lead to anger. Anger
It
would be leading to
multiplies.
conflicts. And who is the victim of the conflicts? The most vulnerable person, child in the family.
Child in the family. Yes, ma'am.
So this is usually the cycle that happens whenever there is a conflict or any issue in the family. The most affected person is the child,
Yes, ma'am.
because the child is a dependent person, emotionally dependent, financially dependent, socially dependent. For everything basic need, the child is dependent.
Right, ma'am.
That's what happened with the underprivileged. Now for special needs also, see, the special needs kids were going to centers or special needs schools where a definite routine was being developed. So a restriction in movement, restriction in environment disrupted that smooth routine. So in special needs kid,
Interaction.
yeah,
Interaction
that
reduced.
also, because they were having interaction with their kinds, and it is a daily developmental process for them, a slow developmental process for them, and
A
that got
fixed channel was there. A fixed
yeah,
channel was there, which got disrupted.
disrupted, yeah. So those special schools, special centers got closed down, so their routine got disrupted, which resulted even in relapse of certain symptoms. So the child
Okay.
was progressing, they relapsed back, then there would have been tantrums, because they don't know what's happening. Again, their expression, because at mental level also they are with a special needs. So even that got disrupted. So it would have been a very difficult period for the parents, because parents may be involved completely, but they are not the expertise. So
Right, ma'am.
again, they face that challenges, handling a special need child 24/7 with the tantrums and relapse of the symptoms. Now, the
Right,
bright
ma'am.
side is here that many centers also carried on online classes for these kids also.
Hmm.
So certain activities which could have been done, they were done.
Okay, okay.
So there were centers who carried on these things, where the net and social media exposure or facilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in
Ma'am,
special
was
needs
it
was
helpful? Was it helpful with these kids? The online learning sessions, was it helpful to the kids?
you are talking about special needs kids or the
Yes,
regular
ma'am.
the
No, the special needs kids.
yes, they were helpful. They were helpful
Okay,
to a great extent. Yeah.
okay,
That's the reviews I got. Yeah.
okay. That is very good.
That was better than nothing at all. So they were seeing those
Actually,
teachers' faces. They were doing some activities. Even
exactly.
the props for the activities, the parents would have worked for it. Okay, these props would be kept prepared, so they would make
Okay.
them do the activities. So it was helpful to a very great extent.
And they could see those familiar faces on the screen, their teacher, their caretaker, their doctor. So,
Yes,
that familiarity was there, which could have helped them a lot.
definitely,
Right,
definitely.
ma'am.
Another positive effect was also there. See, we saw a lot
Okay.
of negative side. So, see, pandemic, we saw a lot of creativity also, and we
Okay.
learned that we don't need to run about everywhere to create something, to learn something. Social media, see, we see social media as a and internet as a very negative, having very negative effect, but used judiciously, creatively, I mean, I have seen a flood of gates open for a lot of people.
Actually,
So
yes, ma'am.
what has become too small? I mean, you can do anything from here to the opposite end of the world.
End of the
So
world. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, and our environment also got rejuvenated actually.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Pandemic has had its effect, but we will overcome it.
We will overcome. We will overcome. Now, ma'am, we are slowly getting back to routine, of course, with all the basic precautions.
Yeah.
But the parents are happy, the children are happy, the parents are कि चलो 2 साल बाद स्कूल जाएंगे. But from what I see, the effects are still there on the kids. The schools have started like limited number of days, limited hours, but there are certain issues. There are certain kids who are still not ready to go to school. Or I have seen the kids coming but sitting in a corner playing by himself, not willing to talk to others, not ready to share, leave alone, just sit next to the child and say prayers. When asked, they would say, "No, I'm comfortable at this place." Now, how do we as teachers or our parents handle this, ma'am?
Okay. See, I would divide it into two sections. One is home environment and the parents, and the second would be the school. And another thing would be a collaborative work between the schools, teachers, and the parents.
Yes, ma'am.
For the parents, I would say whatever you say, whatever you talk, howsoever you will behave, your child is watching you.
Exactly.
So, having a very positive, constructive conversations at home, a positive family environment, even the parents' coping skills, how they are coping with the difficult situations will affect the child, because the child is watching. See, whenever if you are trying to give advice to any child, young child, older child, whoever, they won't follow that. They will learn easily what they are seeing. So if you are advising them not to shout at others, but you yourself are shouting at others, they are learning it's okay to shout. मम्मा पापा तो बोलते रहते कि शाउट नहीं करना है, पर वो तो शाउट करते, तो हम भी करेंगे. So children learn what they see. So it starts with the parents. Parents may be having fear, I know, because you may have lost a very closed one. You may have gone through a very bad phase during the pandemic, and it's difficult to recover. It's difficult to forget that, because even you need time to recover from that, emotionally,
Right.
psychologically. You need to recover. Physically, you may have recovered, but that shock, that, the difficult times, it's difficult to forget and come out of it. So I would advise the parents to have a very positive attitude at home. Okay. Talking to a child, see, when you're talking to a child, you have to go to that level. If a child is a 6-year-old child, you have to talk in a language which is understandable by that child. Not like you and me are talking. We can't talk with a 6-year-old or a 3-year-old like that. And
Right.
you may not be even to have a routine chat with them. You may have to interact with them while playing. See, for kids, play is the first thing that comes. You will learn certain things, a lot of things, by watching the child play. The kind of play he plays, the role plays that he is doing. So play
Yes.
with your child and then talk. While playing, you can talk and you can know what that child is going through. So get to the level of the child when you're talking. Another thing, when you are dropping your child off, picking your child from the school, give 100% attention to your child. It's not like, okay, bye, and you are talking on the phone. When you are with your child, give 100% time, because the child is anxious. Okay. Opening of the schools, I think all the parents are happy. At least I'll be free for 4 to 5 hours. This is the
Right.
reaction. कम
Yes,
से कम
ma'am.
मेरा टाइम मिलेगा, बच्चे गए घर से.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we can understand that parents are having that, but you have to know that children are very sensitive. Even if he listen you speaking, no, I was happy. Okay, now you are going to your routine, so you will be able to interact with your friends. I was happy and I was talking that. I'm giving you my child's example. He's a 9-year-old, and what he said, now mom, you will be happy, no, because I'll be going to school. You will be having peace of mind. It was because some one day we were just joking. Okay, if you go to your school, no, at least I'll have some time for myself, and you won't be hitting my head, and I don't have to study with you. So we were just, and he remembered that. See, I had forgotten it.
Ex-
He
Exactly.
remembered, and then I had to tell him, no, I would be missing you, bacha. He
You
needed.
said it. You said it on a lighter note, but it hit him and it stayed in his mind.
See, so this is what I'm trying to tell you, that maybe sometimes things may be a joke for you, but it's not for the kid. And at that time I felt very guilty, because I was not meaning that. And then I had to assure him that no, I would be missing you. My mornings will be empty without you. And then he was happy. Okay, now my mom is going to miss me. So this is what I'm telling. Kids are anxious. So have a positive talk with him. See, we are taking the precautions. The school are taking the precautions. If you have any problem, you talk with your teachers. Teachers are not going to scold you. And if you are not feeling good, it's okay. Saying it's okay not to feel good, saying it's okay, you don't want to talk, it's okay. See, saying just these two words means a lot to the kids. It will take a lot of load off their minds. It's okay. You don't want to eat? Fine. It's okay. You don't want to go to school? Why do you don't want to go to school? Let's talk about it. What do you feel when you go to school? Will it be okay if you go for a few minutes? I will sit outside. Okay. So that gradual exposure also. For kids who are anxious, a gradual exposure. You go to drop your child. Maybe you start with half an hour, 1 hour. Assure the child you are sitting outside and take him with you. But when you are
Or
dropping, yeah,
or maybe you go to drop them, don't prefer the school bus or the school van. So at least in the initial few days for a month, if the parent goes with the child to drop or pick him
yeah,
up, that is the time when you can connect with your child and he feels secure that mom or dad is there with me.
yeah. And uh, definitely I would tell the parents, keep your word. If you are telling I will be there. Not that you are late by 5 minutes, you are late by 10 minutes. Okay, I'm sorry. Then again, that secure environment which you are trying to build will be disrupted.
Right.
So they would need a definite routine also for initial few days. And when you are dropping off the kid, keep it short. Okay, no, child is at the front gate and still the till the child enters the class, tata, bye bye, tata, bye bye. Don't do it. Put the child there, drop, and you out of sight. Just tell the child,
Right.
I am here, but you go inside.
Right.
Okay. So pick up and drop off should be by the parents. Talk with the teachers and the school that my child is having such issues. Please take care. If there is any major problem, do let us know. What we need to give these children is some time and some space. And in school, what teachers can do is, see, there will always be a range of characters and behaviors in the class. You will get
Right, ma'am.
all kinds of kids, some very introvert to some very extrovert, who will go to the other class and also involve with those kids.
Right,
So
ma'am.
try to involve the peers, the class students, with the child who is very hesitant to interact and socialize. Or
Right,
you
ma'am.
can create certain games, certain games where you know uh, one child can interact, or make a group and they have to perform some activities. And one thing, schools should stop competitions for now. Don't make these things competitive,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
everything is competitive. It takes the fun out of the activity. Which group does
True.
first, which group does second, which group does the best? No, they are still dealing with a trauma, and the school is giving another one in the form of competitions. So
Competitions. Right,
what
ma'am.
I would advise for now, withhold the competition, because that would not motivate them. Maybe some kids will be motivated, but these kids will again go back. They will withdraw.
Even the
So
same applies for the exams. For the lower grade students, maybe if the schools can stop the exams for this 1 year, it's just the performance based result which they can give. It will
yeah,
relieve the kids a lot.
be- yeah, because see, uh, those kids who were initially going to school before the pandemic and who are now going to school are more than happy to go. I mean, they are
Right.
like, okay, we want to go by bus, we want to go by public transport, we don't want you to come. So
Right,
that
ma'am.
is another. Then, though, there are the kids, the preschoolers who are going to the school for the first time.
Yes,
Even
ma'am.
then, some of them will be very, happy to go. Okay, I'll go by bus, parents don't come. But there would be kids for whom this experience would be very overwhelming.
Right, ma'am.
These kids we need to work out. And there may be only a 10 to 20% of the kids, such kids. But then this will affect them on the long run when they are adults. What we ignore in the childhood years, is that, okay, this is not important, that is not important, ignore this, ignore that regarding the child. And when you have a adult who is misbehaving, it's the mother's fault. That time they realize, बचपन में एक लगा दी होती तो अच्छा होता. How many times do we hear that? तो लगाने
We
की
hear
जरूरत
that. You are right. Definitely right, ma'am.
लगाने की जरूरत नहीं होती है. You have, because they don't know what is wrong and what is right.
Actually,
It's our
yes.
responsibility to tell them and to teach them. So uh, those kids who are hesitant, involve the peers, avoid the competitions, try to find collaborating with the parents, try to find out what activities do they like, because even in higher grades they have activities of sports and music and art, and so what kind of activities they like. So collaboration with the parent and the teacher is very important. But most of all, you need to give some time and some space. Now after even 1 or 2 months of back to school, beginning the school, if the child is still facing issues, then you need to send him to a counselor. There may be something which we are not able to uproot.
Okay.
And have a talk with the parent also, that is there something going on at house, at home, not the pandemic, any other health issues, any other conflicts. So we need to work for that child.
Right, ma'am.
What signs are we talking about? The child is withdrawn. Child is not interacting. That is, we know that the child is anxious. But there may
Right.
be associated sign of depression also. There may be
Okay.
changes in appetites, sudden change, either eating too much food or not eating too much food,
Not eating.
disturbed sleep, difficult to fall asleep, uh, not able to sleep continuously, then
Okay.
change in moods,
Yes.
anger, getting angry in very small things, losing interest in all the activities which the child was doing initially.
Yes. Going
Initially,
into
maybe
a shell. Going into a shell.
yeah, they will clamp up. They will clamp up. Uh, then conditions like uh, uh, they were initially talking with the parents, talking with the friends, but now they are not doing anything. They lose interest in anything. Even the academics will be affected very much.
Right, ma'am.
So when you see any 2 3 signs gradually building up, then you need
Okay.
to talk to the child.
Okay.
Parents need to keep their eyes open and the ears open, because schools the kids only are for 4 to 5 hours. Teacher
Right,
will
ma'am.
observe some behavior difficulties or some academic difficulties. But
Right,
what
ma'am.
goes at home? At home, you find a sudden change in the attitude of a child. A child who is usually very jolly and suddenly he's silent.
Okay.
He does not want to eat food. He does not want to take something, or he does not want to bring in something. He's not actually used to open up. The appetite has changed. He's throwing tantrums and in small things. He's getting angry very easily. Then you need to find out something is wrong. The child may also be going into depression. We think the children don't go into depression. Children do go. And it's not that all the sad faces are in depression, and it's not that all the happy faces are not in depression.
Are not in
Most
depression.
of the
Right,
time,
ma'am.
the happiest
Rightly
of
said.
the faces are in depression.
Right, ma'am.
So,
Right, ma'am.
uh, parents need to observe. Please keep your eyes and ears open at least for a few months, because you never know what hit the child. As I
Right.
told you, they don't have a rich emotional vocabulary. They are resilient, they are very flexible, and they also have emotions, but somehow they don't have that maturity to express those emotions,
Right, ma'am. Rightly said.
because verbally they are not expressing. But if you see a change in a behavior, if a child is very angry, he's throwing things, then something has happened which he's not comfortable with. It's not always that he's a bad boy or he's a bad child. It's not that.
It's
Something
his
has
way of
triggered it
expressing.
by, yeah. So we also see, we have our good days, we have our bad days, we have our grumpy days. Even kids have that.
Right,
We
right,
think
ma'am.
kids don't have any emotions, they don't have anything, then we are very wrong.
Right, ma'am.
Even they have good days, bad days, grumpy days. Sometimes they don't feel like doing anything. It's okay. Tell them it's okay. Take rest. Nothing is lost in a day of rest.
Ma'am, this okay. This word the parents need to use the most with the kids.
More now.
More so now. Because just this saying, कि, okay, beta, chalega, it is like taking a burden off the kids. They feel, okay, my behavior is valid. My mommy is there with me. My papa is there with me. Just the small word, okay. But it definitely will help the children a long way.
See, what I observe in most of our Indian families, what we have seen, it's how we live, it's our culture or whatever, our society. A child comes and says something. चुप हो जा, तुझे क्या है? ऐसे थोड़ा बड़ा हो गया, या तो बहुत छोटा होता है या बहुत बड़ा होता है, पर उसकी फीलिंग्स वैलिडेटेड नहीं होती है. This is what, because we are, again, the adults are in their own world of stress. A lot of
Right?
things going. So one thing which we don't do is validate the feelings and fears and emotions of our children. So
Right,
what
ma'am.
happens? Now here the child comes to you. Imagine yourself that child. 3-year-old child, 5-year-old child, even your adolescent. A child comes with a problem to you, but you are so busy with yourself, you don't listen. First thing, you don't listen. Second thing, you don't validate. ये तो सबका होता रहता है. तू बड़ा हो गया, कर ले. ये सबके साथ होता है. It happens to everything. You solve it by yourself. Nothing will happen. Go. Okay. So
Right.
what message you got? Now you are that child. What message you got? The message you get is that, okay, what I feel is not important. My problem is not important. I'm not going to get any help over here. So next time when that child is going to have any problems or any issues, that child will not be coming to you. He will be thinking himself what I will do, how I will come. And if he's not able to solve it, he will go into some behavior problem, or he may go into depression. It depends how resilient that child is or how smart that child is. So
Right,
it
ma'am.
could make or break the child.
Yes, yes.
So please listen to what your child is saying. Even if a child is coming and giving you a hug, maybe you don't need that hug, but the child may be needing that hug at that moment.
That point of time.
Yeah, at that moment, at that point of time, he may be needing it. Child is coming and showing you something. I made this. Instead of criticizing it, appreciate it. See the smile on that child's face. So these things are more, a parent's attitude will definitely make or break the child's future. Schools are important. Teachers are equally important. In the age group of 7 to 12, the teachers and peer groups are equally important. So if a teacher is demoralizing a child during this period repeatedly, the child will have very poor self-confidence and competence problems. So even I request the school teachers that in this age, please don't demoralize it. See, if a curriculum is such that 70% of the children who are with an average IQ is only just school IQs are just literature and mathematical. No other 16 aspect of intelligence are not considered. So so this academic IQ only 70% would be average. 5 to 10% would be above average. There would be 10 to 20% who will be below average. So the school's job is to bring that 20 to 10% at least to that level of 70%, which no school is doing.
No school is doing.
No school is doing. Even the highest, the best of the schools are not doing that.
Right,
So
ma'am.
it ultimately comes on the shoulders of the parents.
Right.
That
Here,
how, yeah.
here I would like to share one thing that as you just said, okay, even if the child has made a small drawing, it could be a house or a car, the mother needs to appreciate. I used to do that before Corona, that whatever activities, whatever coloring the children have made, I would put all of them up on the flash mode. So it was the look on the children's faces, the happiness that my work has been put on the soft board or at the gate. They were so happy and they felt I've done it so nicely that the teacher has put up. The same can be done by the parents. Whatever work they make, you can use a magnet and put it on the refrigerator. And all the family members passing by would say, wow, Rohan, you have done this so nicely. Very nicely done, very neatly done. It's so important for their self confidence.
So appreciating what they have done, see, like pandemic time, I would tell we did not have maids coming at home, right? So each and every member of the family was helping. Even
Right,
kids
ma'am.
were helping. So how you verbalize. Now if I say, okay, uh, my son, okay, you are very good, you are helping, but instead of that, if you say, I really appreciate you are helping me, and it has taken a lot of workload off my shoulders, I'm so
Right,
thankful
ma'am.
to you. Instead of saying you are a good boy, so if you are saying you are a good boy, then what the message child gets, if I do this, then only I'm a good boy. If I'm not helping, then I'm not a good boy. So the appreciation, how you putting it, no, that also we have to be very careful. The
Very good.
use of good and very good, and it should be on the activity. So
Right,
that
ma'am.
is also one thing, when you are appreciating your child for helping you, so appreciate that work that you have done this for me. Thank you so much. And how it
Right, ma'am.
has affected you. But
Right,
if
ma'am.
we say you are helping me, thank you so much, you are a good boy. You are a very good boy. But then the child is okay now. मैं help करूंगा तो ही मैं good boy हूँ. बाकी नहीं हूँ.
Right, ma'am.
And one more thing is, see, children will be having very overwhelming times. As you said, when they're coming back to school, some may be having, crying spells, when the parents come to drop off, and they may be having other issues. So one of what I would say to parents, when the child is high on his emotions, he's crying, he's overwhelmed, he's throwing a tantrum, please, please, please don't give any advice.
Pravachan mat do, please.
Child will not listen.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead, what you can do, let him, you know, uh, vent out his emotions, but taking care that he's not harming himself or anyone else. If he's howling, let him howl. Once that emotions are went off, he will calm down. What we usually do, public place, a child is howling, we start, ek to laga di. Most of the parents do that. Ek do laga di. क्या कर रहा है सबके सामने रो रहा है क्या and they start giving all sorts of advice and the child is not listening at all. Instead, okay, it's okay, 2 minutes the passer-by will see, okay, and what they opine you is not your priority for you. वो तो
Exactly.
कह के निकल
Exactly.
जाएंगे.
Yes, yes, yes.
Talk, take him to a side, sit down, let him vent out. He will calm down, he will eventually calm down. You can at least ask, थोड़ा रोना कम करोगे तो हम कुछ बात कर सके, तो कुछ बोल. Please say something if you are able to. Otherwise, let him vent out. He will eventually come out. But don't give advice. When we are in a stress, just imagine, we are adults, we are mature enough. But when we are going through a lot of turmoil, are we receptive to any advice? यही बोलेंगे मुंह
Exactly.
बंद रख अपना. Please shut up. That's what we say. Kids cannot say
Kids cannot
because
say.
they are dependent. वो लगेगा ना बोलूंगी तो एक तो और लग जाएगी. So parents need to be very careful how they are dealing with the behavior issues, because see, no child is born with a bad behavior. Any problematic behavior is always secondary to some emotional turmoil. Something the child is not happy with, something the child is not comfortable with, or something that has gradually been building up in the child, and the floodgates have opened.
There is something in the background which has
There is,
led to this.
there is always something in the background, and you need
Right,
to
ma'am.
work on that. So
Work on
we,
that. Right,
when
ma'am.
within the 4 to 8 weeks period, we can still give that child time. Give some time, give some space. If the child is not able to move to a normalcy, then definitely see a counselor. I'm not telling
Yes.
psychiatrist. See a counselor. If the schools are having counselor, see a school sounds counselor or other psychologist. Not we don't need drugs for these kids. We don't need to
Yes.
see a psychiatrist, but see a psychologist or a counselor. There are
Right, ma'am.
methods and there are ways in which the stress level and the anxiety of the children can be dealt with as per their wish.
Right, ma'am.
So, final say for the parents is keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, listen, please listen.
Listen,
Listen the
listen.
lines and listen what is in between the lines also.
Right, ma'am. Right, ma'am.
And when the child is high on emotions, it is better to keep your mouth shut. Don't give any advice. Console the
Just
child, be there for the child. Being
just be
there is
physically
important.
there. Just be
Yes.
physically there for the child.
Give a hug. There's nothing
Give a
wrong in
hug.
giving your child a hug. He may even hit you. He does not want a hug. It's okay. You give him a hug. But
Right, ma'am.
that feeling, that okay, there is someone who is going to listen to me, someone who is going to validate my feelings, and someone from whom I am going to get some help.
Right,
This is
ma'am.
the train of thoughts that would go in their mind if you are receptive. And the
Right, ma'am.
opposite will be there when you are not receptive. So give time to your kids. Listen to what they are saying, listen to how they are behaving, and they will come out of it. They are very
They'll go.
resilient. They just need that support. They are more resilient than we are. Just give them some time, some space, and support. That's all that's needed for them.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, you have so beautifully expressed, in such simple language, you've put in everything. It definitely is a beautiful takeaway for all the parents over here and even for the teachers. Now, one thing with the busy life you have, the patients that you see, you have two sons.
Yes.
You are into a lot of things. Just before we went live, you were telling me you pursue a lot of things.
Yes.
How do you find time? And what are your hobbies? What are your areas of interest?
Psychology has always been my first love. Even, when I went to pediatrics, I was more interested in psychiatry. I was not allowed to go but take that branch.
Okay. Okay.
So, but working with pediatrics, what I felt was whatever I do, I want to work with children, because that's the age from where I can either build or break. I don't want to break. I want to stop the children from breaking when they are adults, because this is the age when the break or make thing starts.
Right,
So,
right.
psychology had been one of my first loves. So even after my pediatrics and starting my practice as a pediatrician, I got a lot of support from my family, my husband, and my kids. So I was able to pursue the courses. And anything that is related to psychology, anything that is related to spirituality, and anything I can combine both of it. So
Right.
that has always been my interest. So being a mother of two, I have one is a teenager and one is a 9-year old. I learn a lot of things for them. They teach me a lot of things, and it's fun to watch them. And I'm happy that uh, they find it comfortable to confide in me. If they are having any issues, they are having any problems, they do talk to me sooner or later. They really, ask for any help they need. And if they have any emotional issues, then also they are open with me. So I think for me, that is an achievement for me, that as a mother, even with not prioritizing my what you call profession as much, and I have given much time to them, so that is fruitful now. At least I got this, that they are comfortable, because teenagers usually don't share their emotions or issues with them. They solve it among the peers. But then, yes, and my younger one, it's a new lesson with him every day.
Just
Yeah.
before this, I was reading your status, and your status summarizes what you just said. Believe in your children, and they will believe in themselves too.
Yes, yes,
Right?
definitely. See, what we are emphasizing, it's a competitive world, right? So we want our kids to be the best, but let them be their best. Don't push
Yes.
them. I have never compared my kids' marks with anyone else's. I just ask him, have you worked hard? If you have worked hard and you did not get the marks, then you have to think where you made the mistake. But if you have not worked hard and you have not got the marks, then it's okay. Work better next time. So, and I never compare both of my kids. Both are two different persons. See, we have come from an age where a lot of comparison was there, even between siblings. And I think in today's world also. But I would advise the parents, even two of your kids, same
Don't compare.
gender, don't compare. They are
Don't
two
compare.
different
Never compare.
individuals.
Yes, ma'am.
That they are
Yes,
two
ma'am.
different worlds. So let them be the best at what they are. Don't push
Right,
them.
ma'am. Right,
They
ma'am.
will come out. Sabko sab ho jayega. Just show them the right way.
Right, ma'am. Just be there for them, which is
Be there.
more important than anything else. Just be
Yes.
there. They will do
And
something. They will do
yes,
something for sure. Don't push them. Don't break them.
yes. And if you make a mistake, please apologize. As a parents, if you make mistakes, please say sorry.
Sorry.
Saying
Very
sorry
important.
is not going to make you small. And the kids will learn that it's okay if we make a mistake, we have to say sorry. It does not make us small, it does not make us big if you are not accepting a mistake. So be resilient enough and be modest enough. If you have done something wrong, if you have not kept your promise, be sorry. Feel sorry before saying sorry, not just for the sake of saying sorry.
Not just lip service. You should actually mean it.
Yeah.
And
And
ma'am,
if
I
you are
always feel, yes, yes, sorry,
if you
sorry,
are
ma'am.
doing for kids, no, when we were your age, we were doing this, these were our achievements, those were our achievements. Talk about your failures also. Life is not about successes only. No one has climbed the ladder without failures. And
Definitely.
telling you the failures are okay. Better to fail now than when life will not give you another opportunity to fail. It's okay to fail. Learn from why you fail. It's okay to make mistakes. It is a time when you can make mistakes and you can learn from it and improve and move on.
Right, ma'am. Right, right.
So it's okay for that. Appreciate what they're doing. Say sorry if you are wrong and talk about your failures also with your kids. Very important for them to know that's all is not gold
A
and
rosy
silver.
picture. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And what happens is, ma'am, in case when they make mistakes, they will immediately recall that, okay, my mother or my father also had a drop or had a failure. So it's okay. But it's important to learn from it and move on instead of
Mm.
cribbing and crying about it.
Yeah.
Charmi, ma'am, a big, big thank you for all the
Thank you, ma'am.
valuable time that you spared. And we had a lot of takeaways from this talk. A big thank you. And I look forward to inviting you again on this platform and sharing your views with us, ma'am. On
Thank you
behalf
very.
of Parents Station, a big thank you and
Thank
namaste.
you. Thank, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this platform. And thank you to all the parents. Hats off to all. Once again, I really appreciate all the parents, all the teachers, everyone who have made it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.
Welcome.
Namaste.
Bye. Namaste. Bye.